Tick-tock, chip-chop, cut out your heart and replace with a clock. Stitch it and sew it and stitch it again. Heartless, invincible, cogs for a brain. The Clockkill and the Thief by Gareth Ward. Chapter 1. Lessons in Death. Sin hated the house of 1,000 deaths. It was his least favourite lesson, even worse than double Latin. The traps and tricks didn't bother him. With his ability to slow time, he always managed to avoid them. No, what bothered him was his friends dying. He understood the need for the house. As students at the Covert Operations Group, they had to train hard to ensure they were ready for the spy missions they would be sent on. But Sin doubted he'd ever get used to the death of a friend. Once finally decorated, the mansion's upper landing was now worn and shabby. The oak panels clad in the walls bore the scars of years of abuse, as did the pitted and stained floorboards. A musty smell hung in the damp, chill air. Sin adjusted his goggles and flexed his shoulders against the protective leather suit he wore. Keeping his back pressed against the wall, he reached for the brass door handle fashioned in the shape of a dragon's head. "You ready?" he asked. Opposite waited his mission partner and best friend, Zonda Chubb. Straggles of blonde hair escaped from beneath her padded leather helmet. "Absolutamon," she said, brushing a stray strand clear of her iron-glass goggles. Sin shoved the door open and noted the room's details in an instant. There were no other doors, but two long windows opposite offered a possible means of escape. A large bookcase occupied one wall, while a soot-stained painting of a horse adorned the other. Ahead, Staff Mackay relaxed in a tattered armchair, his luminous ginger hair glowing like a beacon. His plaid blazer pulled tight across his barrel chest, the Scottish weapon instructor's stocky build better suited to military fatigues than formal dress. Across his tartan trouser knees rested a briefcase. Behind Mackay towered the metallic black form of a clockwork soldier, one of the feared watchmen. They weren't too smart, but they were tough, and recent upgrades by the eccentric inventor Nimrod Baum had made them quicker than a whip crack. Zonda rushed alongside Sin. Framed in the doorway, the sharp tick of spinning clockwork cut the air, and quick as a piston, the Watchmech steam rifle was at its shoulder. Time slowed. Except as Nimrod had explained, time wasn't slowing. Sin was speeding up. Super adrenaline flooding his system, tripling his heart rate and accelerating his brain activity. A white cloud mushroomed from the Watchmech steam rifle, a nail punching through the vapour. His arms outstretched, Sin cannoned into Zonda, knocking her across the doorway. They crashed onto the landing's floorboards, and time snapped back. Loud as bellows, Zonda's strained breathing pained Sin's ears, his senses always more acute after the super adrenaline rush. "That wasn't the planner, Rudy," said Zonda, pinned beneath Sin in the relative safety of the corridor. "Plan changed. We weren't getting into the room without dying." Opposite the open doorway, two nails protruded from the landing wall. Plaster motes drifted in the air around them. The practiced nails were deliberately blunted and fired at a lower pressure, the intention being to hurt rather than kill. It still wasn't good to take a direct hit. The bruises lasted for weeks. No one really died in training, not intentionally anyway. But every simulated fatality reminded them that on an actual mission there were no second chances. Sin pushed himself off Zonda and helped her to her feet. She dusted off her suit and said, "We need a plan B. No way through that door without getting nailed, and we aren't allowed back inside to try the windows." "If only we had a gorgiferous slice of angel cake." Zonda patted the pockets on her snug suit. "I ate my last bit in the axe attack room." "Cake won't get us through the door," said Sin. "At least I'd die happy," answered Zonda. From a pouch on his belt, Sin removed a circular mirror attached to a telescopic rod. With a quiet tick of clockwork, the rod extended. Sin eased the mirror into the open doorway and inspected the room's reflection. The Watchmech stood on aim, its steam rifle trained on the doorway. The machine could remain like that indefinitely. It wouldn't get tired or bored or hungry, and it certainly couldn't be bribed with cake. "You have 10 minutes left," shouted Staff Mackay, his tiny reflected image replacing a pocket watch in his blazer. "Fantabaruni, you've given me an idea." Zonda shuffled along the corridor to where a large gilt-frame mirror hung on the wall. "We can use this as a shield." Sin examined a crack in the mirror. "This ain't iron glass. It wouldn't stop a sneeze. It'll never stop a nail." "It doesn't have to. It's cover from view, not cover from fire." Sin lifted the mirror from the wall. They'd learned about cover from view the hard way. A few weeks earlier, Mackay had told them they were playing hide and seek in the ornamental flower gardens. Once all the candidates were hidden, he proceeded to unload on them with a belt-fed steam rifle. The training nails had ripped through the flowers and thudded into the students, hammering home the lesson. Cover from view didn't mean cover from effective enemy fire. "So what's the plan?" asked Sin. We advanced into the room, hiding behind the mirror. "No danger!" The corners of Sim's mouth turned down. "The mirror's antique. What happens when the watchmech lets rip?" Zonda's green eyes sparkled. "It won't. Trust me." Having grown up living rough on the streets of Coxford, Sim was slow to trust. But Zonda was one of the few people who had won his confidence. Crouching low, he manoeuvred the mirror into the doorway. Although cumbersome, it wasn't heavy. Zonda tucked in behind him, the strawberry scent of her hair filling Sin's nostrils. She rested a gloved hand on his shoulder. "Let's go." Adopting an awkward shuffle to ensure they both stayed hidden, Sin slid the mirror across the parquet floor. His throat tightened and a dryness parched his mouth. With no view of the watchmech, he'd have no forewarning should the machine decide to shoot. Expecting an explosion of steam at any moment, followed by the intense pain of impacting nails, he moved into the room. With Zonda directing them, they circled sideways until they were to the rear of the Clockwork Soldier. She removed a large neodymium magnet from the field toolkit strapped to her leg and pressed it to the back of the watchmech's head. With a thunk, the tick of turning cogs ceased and the Mechanica slumped. Sin lowered the mirror and drew alongside Staff Mackay. "Professor Haber, I'm from Cog and I'm here to rescue you," he said, delivering the message he'd memorised from the briefing earlier that afternoon. Mackay opened his briefcase and slid his hand inside. "Danke schön," he responded in perfect Teutonian. He stood, letting the briefcase drop to the floor. Clutched in his hand was a stubby 4-barrelled steam pistol, pointed straight at Sin. Dodging sideways, Sin slapped the back of Mackay's hand, just like they'd been taught. Steam jetted from the barrels and the pistol flew from the sergeant's grip. Zonda screamed, a quartet of nails protruding from her torso. Shouldering the inert watchmech aside, Sin grabbed its steam rifle and sighted down the barrel at Mackay. The sergeant raised his hands in surrender. "Index!" he shouted, all hints of Teutonian replaced by his thick Scottish intonation. "Cog Chub, you are dead. Rule 2 of any rescue mission, ne'er trust the person you are rescuing." "Ow!" Zonda plucked a nail from her suit and tossed it on the ground. "What's Rule 1? "Dinna get killed," said Mackay. "Cog Sin, well done, you have removed Professor Haber from his Teutonian masters and prevented their use of necrotic gases on the battlefields of Europe." Sim rubbed a gloved hand over his forearm. He hadn't stopped anything. It was only an exercise. Perhaps at some point Cog would mount a mission to rescue or remove the real Professor. After all, that's what Cog did. Sabotage the military machines of Europe in an attempt to stop the next Great War. For now, Professor Haber was still developing his chemical weapons. Staff Mackay clasped Sin on the shoulder. "If you didn't mind me asking, how the hoots did you know the mirror would work?" "Beats me," said Sin. "Son?" Zonda winced, tugging the final nail free. "Last term, when I fitted the camera nocturna to the watchmech for the Major, I discovered their biochemical retinas really are jolly primitive. I suspected the mirror's reflection will confuse its clockwork." "You suspected?" Sin kicked the mirror's frame. "You made me come in here protected by a 1/4 inch of glass and a hunch." "It was more of an educated guess than a hunch. Advanced as the watchmech's clockwork gearing is, they'll never be able to do what we do," said Zonda, tapping a finger against her temple. "So we'll always be able to beat them." "Yeah, until the military figures out how to wire a human brain into a machine," said Sin. "Then we're doomed." I hope you enjoyed the first chapter of The Clockkill and the Thief. If you want to read more, it is available on ebook at the usual places, as is the first book in the series, The Traitor and the Thief. Please check out my website, garethwardauthor.com. You can also email me there, join my mailing list. So if you've got any questions, if you've read the books, please feel free to contact me. You can also buy the books in bookshops when we open again, and it would be great to support your local bookshops. They are part of your community, they do great things, and they are going to need your help once we come out of this. So please stay home, stay safe, stay well, and we'll all get through this. Thank you.